Good morning, friends. I am Professor Kailash Tambe from Zeal College of Engineering for subject ES IoT, the Unit 6. This next video is for the Unit 6. Here you can see the unit name is IoT Physical Servers, Cloud Offering and IoT Case Studies. So from that, the cloud storage, introduction to cloud storage models, the first video I have already uploaded. Then the rest of the things, the communication API and the in this communication API today we are going to cover the WebSocket, and that will be followed by the WAMP is the next one, which includes the Autobahn for IoT, Zibly Cloud for IoT in the next videos. So let's start with the WebSocket as a communication API. Okay, so here these are the contents which I am going to cover: communication API, then the web application messaging protocol, that is the WAMP, and Zibly Cloud for IoT in the next videos. So let's start with the communication API. In this communication API, which facilitates the data transfer, information transfer and service transfer. So a communication API we have already seen in the first unit and in the second unit also, which we use for the communication purpose, which is application programming interface, and that used to say transfer the data amongst the devices, applications, and it also includes the information, then the service transfer purpose. So it supports the publish subscriber model. So these communication API is based on the publish subscriber model, and which uses the remote procedure call. So here we can see in the next which API it is there. So API that we are going to be understand, which is WebSocket, which is a network communication protocol which is for many advanced features. For example, the first question comes in our mind that why do we need WebSocket? The answer is that because the HTTP protocol has a flaw, which is nothing but communication only can be initiated by the client. So that is the constraint over here. For example, let's say we want to know the weather today. The server will return the results of the query only if the client makes a request to the server, but which is inappropriate with the requirement. Wherever there is a weather information is going to be updated, that should be informed to the client. The HTTP protocol doesn't allow the server to push information to the clients actively. So what are the problems with the HTTP? So we can see here the unidirectional, it is unidirectional, half duplex, stateless. Then for each request, TCP connection has to be established first. Therefore, in order to find a better way, engineers invented WebSocket. So what is WebSocket? Here you can see the biggest feature of the protocol is that the server can push information to the client actively, and the client can also send information to the server actively. It is true two-way equal communication and is one of the server push technologies. It's based on the TCP protocol, and the implementation on the server side is relatively easy. It uses publish subscribe communication model, as we have seen it already. The data format is relatively light and the performance overhead is small, but the communication is efficient. This WebSocket uses port number 443 and also port number 80. Client can communicate with any server. The protocol identifier is WS, which is WSS if it is in encrypted form, and the URL is exactly the server's URL. So for example WS colon then double backslash example.com colon 80 backslash some backslash path. This is nothing but what we could say the example for this WebSocket. Here you can see that the server and client can establish a connection. So client will first request to the server will reply to that request, and then handshake will take place. So a connection will be get established. Then there will be a persistent connection, which is nothing but the bidirectional communication between server and client as we are expected. So what are the examples for this? So is great for the apps like the chatbot, then the multiplayer gaming, the real time, that is nothing but the what we could say the stock exchange, or we could say the weather monitoring. These WebSocket is useful for such what we could say the applications. After that, the next is nothing but the wireless application messaging protocol. So very first, let's understand that what are the problem there. So in these wireless application messaging protocol, why it's required, what are the problem with the existing one? So it's now no longer a time now to be a static one. So everything, it means all applications and related things are prefer dynamism. So all the web application need this dynamism. The web applications now should automatically get updated, which is a need of time. To solve this, we use the WAMP. Okay. It is a sub protocol of WebSocket. It is a router protocol. That means it requires a central router server to work, which enables different technologies, processes and machines to communicate with each other at the real time. So this WAMP will take care the number of servers, the number of clients are involved, and the real time requirement of the scenarios. It also offers two tools, that is the RPC remote procedure call and the publisher subscriber model. So messages on WAMP are based on the JSON format. So let's see that what are those remote procedure calls versus publish subscriber model, how it is going to be work. So remote procedure call based on the request reply format and request reply routing format, as needed whenever it is going to be get establish a connection. So one-to-one communication will be there, which is good for synchronous and asynchronous network. So you can see here the caller and callee. So caller is making connection with the callee. So callee, so here you can see that is nothing but comes under the remote procedure calls. So based on the request and reply format, as we have seen for the client server, as and when needed the connection will get established, one-to-one communication will be there, and which is almost good for the synchronous and asynchronous network. Then publisher subscriber model is there. So in this publisher subscriber model, it is event based, so fire and forget. So event driven based, that is the event is going to be detect that the action will be driven. So fire and forget routing, always listening connections, one to many communication, soft real time, so which is always made based on the what, the publish subscriber through the broker model. So let's go in detail of these. So this WAMP is nothing but the combination of the RPC and the WebSocket. So a remote procedure call by using the WebSocket API, this WAMP will get established. So RPC plus publish or subscriber model, which is equal to the WAMP. So let's see this. Here you can see the remote procedure call, which is nothing but the take place or established between the caller and callee by through the dealer, and here the publisher subscriber model through the broker. To achieve the same decoupling as a publisher subscriber, WAMP introduces dealer as an intermediary. Like the publisher subscriber broker, the dealer routes calls from the caller to callee and back from callee to caller. So same is there with the publisher subscriber. Router, so it also worked as a router. So router is equal to broker plus broker. Here let's understand the entities involved in these. What's the meaning of this? So to entities involved in these, we could say that the transport is a channel that connects two peers. Session is a conversation between two peers that runs over a transport. Clients are peers that can have one or more roles. Then in a publish subscriber model, the client can have following roles. So publisher publishes event including payload to the topic maintained by the broker. Subscriber subscribes to the topic and receives the events including the payload. In the RPC model, the client can have the following role: caller and callee. Caller issues calls to the remote procedure along with the call argument. Callee executes the procedure to which the callee to the which the calls are issued by the caller and return the results to the caller. So these WAMP, also the routers are playing an important role. So routers are peers that perform generic call and event routing. In the publish subscriber model, the router has the role of broker. Broker acts as a router and routes the messages published to the topic to all the subscribers subscribe to the topic. In the RPC model, the router has the role of dealer. Dealer acts as a router and routes RPC calls from the caller to the callee and routes result from the callee to the caller. So application code turns on the client, publisher, subscriber, callee to the caller. So this was the WebSocket as the API and the wireless application messaging protocol we have covered in this video. Thank you very much. I'll come with the next video very soon. If you like this video, kindly subscribe to the video. Thank you.